media.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. Today I want to talk about the SDTC scandal, and again, just to really unveil the level of corruption that is going on within the government. Now, a lot of people have said to me, what exactly is the Green Slush Fund? What is SDTC? Because we've been told about $400 million worth of money that's been padding the Liberals' pockets. Today, I can happily say, I've got a video I want to share with you guys, put out by Andrew Scheer, that really explains just what is going on, where this money has gone, and how this is going to affect Canadians, and especially Canadians moving forward. Even with a new government, I've often said, what guarantees do we have, even with a new government, once Justin Trudeau is gone, that essentially Justin Trudeau hasn't just given them a roadmap as to how to essentially do the same things, but on a lower scale in order to protect their friends and pad their pockets just without getting caught the next time around. These are the reasons why laws in Canada need to change. Our government, if they're serious about fixing these problems, need to make amendments to laws to avoid these things from happening, or at the very least, press charges against those who have broken laws under conflict of interest. I'm going to show you this clip video, and then we're going to discuss a little bit what's going on. Just a note before we start, I have reached out to Andrew Scheer's office. I would like to get Andrew on the channel. Again, we've talked back and forth. I'm hoping to get something organized sooner than later. But again, MPs are busy. They're always running around doing things for the government. But hopefully we can get Andrew to explain this further at some point on the channel. Let's take a listen, and then we'll recap.
If government officials funneled $400 million of your tax money into their own pockets, you would have heard about it by now, right?
He has $1 billion fund whose own bureaucrats say reminds them of the sponsorship scandal, whose executives give money to their own companies.
But you probably haven't, because when Liberals are in power, the parliamentary press gallery doesn't like to highlight Liberal corruption.
There's been explosive testimony by a whistleblower on this Prime Minister's $1 billion Green Slush Fund that's seen $150 million misappropriated and gone to Liberal insiders.
Liberal appointees to a board that got to make decisions as to which companies got grants worth millions of dollars of taxpayers' money gave those grants to their own companies. A scandal like this should be the lead item on the news day after day. There should be banner headlines on front pages every time there's a new development. There should be shadowy figures in parking garages smoking cigarettes, handing out documents to hardworking investigative reporters. None of that is really happening. Instead, the parliamentary press gallery is focusing on all different kinds of issues where they can try to distract Canadians from the real essence of the scandal.
It's the headline everywhere. Prince Charles, before he was king, shrieking at seeing shrink wrap, or plastic wrap as we call it, for the first time.
So instead of letting the mainstream media confuse and distract, let's get right into the essence of this scandal.
The findings that were the findings used to suspend SDTC were known to the federal government all the way back in May of 2023.
There's a fund called Sustainable Development Technology Canada, and it's supposed to give grants to companies who have legitimate, innovative ideas to improve Canada's environmental record. Now, SDTC is a huge organization funded by the government to the tune of $1 billion in tax money. The Liberals appointed their friends to the board. That board gets to decide who gets the cash. And what did they do when those Liberal insiders sat around the table? They started handing out money to their own companies. $400 million of your money went not to improve environmental outcomes, but to line the pockets of Liberal insiders.
Now, it's important to highlight this because this is, again, where it really shows out what the SDTC scandal is. And again, points back to the carbon taxes. Every time you're paying carbon tax on your fuel, on your food, on your clothing, on anything that you do in your day-to-day life, this is where it's going. It's going into a slush fund, this pretend world where Justin Trudeau, Stephen Guilbeault, and all of the fart-huffing Liberals want to sit and pretend that they're actually putting money towards changing the weather, making the environment better, researching technologies that are going to make our lives easier. And in fact, all they've done here is pad the pockets of their friends. It's a get-rich-quick. It's almost like a Ponzi scheme. This is no different than any other scandal you've ever seen when it's involving insider trading, when it involves, again, people looking out for their own bank accounts. And again, Andrew Scheer has laid out exactly what the problem is here. Now let's continue, because I do want to get into where the reports come in and where some of this money has gone, because some people, again, may not be aware how deep this goes. Let's take a look.
$334 million over 186 cases to projects in which board members held a conflict of interest. That means they benefited from the decision and they were the ones who made the decision. $58 million to 10 projects that weren't even eligible and couldn't even demonstrate any environmental benefit at all or any development of green technology.
So that's, again, where a question I have is, why are we doing this? Why are we funding this? If they don't meet the eligibility requirements, if they don't even have anything to do with the SDTC, why are they being granted $58 million of taxpayer money? Again, you would think that documents like these surfacing would be enough for Justin Trudeau to see some form of charges. Again, Andrew Scheer pointing out, why is this not in the news every day? Why are they talking about Prince Charles and shrink wrap? I almost said shrinkage. But why are they talking about shrink wrap and silly distractions when they should be exactly doing what Andrew says, pointing out, look at this scandal. Don't forget the people who work at CTV. I don't care if the government is paying for your jobs. Your taxes are paying for this behavior. You should be just as outraged as every other taxpayer in the country. I don't care how much money you make. A large portion of those taxes you're paying is going towards this type of behavior.
The ethics commissioner found that the chair of this board, this Liberal appointee, broke the law when she funneled money into her own company. After 9 years, the Trudeau Liberals aren't even trying to be creative in their corruption. There was a giant pile of money, which is why we call it a slush fund. And the Liberals on the board that got to make the decision as to who got the money gave it to themselves. This is so blatant, it got caught the first time the fund was audited. If this storyline were part of a movie or a television series, it probably would get rejected due to lazy and bad writing. How do we know this? It's because a brave whistleblower testified at committee and blew the lid wide open on this gross corruption scandal. Here's what the whistleblower said. It should never have taken 2 years for the issues to reach this point, and what should have been a straightforward process turned into a bureaucratic nightmare that allowed SDTC to continue wasting millions of dollars and abusing countless employees over the last year. Now, if you were in government, you might think, well, hey, let's hold the lawbreakers to account. Let's let the truth come out, and let's let the RCMP charge those who knowingly stuffed their own pockets with your cash. But instead, what are the Liberals doing? They're fighting this tooth and nail. They're actually paralyzing Parliament to keep these documents hidden. Here's what that same whistleblower said about criminal activity.
I think the Auditor General's investigation was more of a cursory review. I don't think the goal and mandate of the Auditor General's office to actually look into criminality, so I'm not surprised by the fact that they haven't found anything criminal, because they're not looking at intent. So if their investigation was focused on intent, of course they would find the criminality.
And do you believe that the RCMP doesn't have authority to investigate in this matter?
No, I definitely believe they have authority.
That's why we need the RCMP to have all the documents so they can see who knew what and when.
The problem with Andrew Scheer's statement there is that we've seen what the RCMP does to protect Justin Trudeau and the Liberals. The purpose of this video isn't exactly to blow out, hey, here's what's already happened. It's to give a better understanding as to why every Canadian should not just be mad at what's going on, but be questioning, why is this not out there? Why are we not seeing charges? Why are we sitting back comfortably complaining about it on the internet instead of having something done about it? But also, again, when these MPs, these representatives, when anybody comes door knocking when it comes time for the next federal election, including Conservatives, the big question should be, why wasn't anything done? Why didn't we see any charges? And what are you doing to ensure that your party does not have the same loopholes and rights to do the same thing to Canadians when you're in power? What are we doing to put laws in place to protect the hardworking Canadians who pay their taxes to go to actual programs and funding that is necessary for the country rather than padding the pockets of rich bureaucrats. This is where Canada needs to step up. This is why this needs to be blown wide open. And again, if you're around your local TV station, if you're able to call, email, you should be calling them off the hook, asking, why are you not talking about this? Why are you taking your government handouts to silence the biggest corruption scandal in politics history, while Canadians live in tents, while Canadians can't afford to go to work, while Canadians are skipping meals so that their children can eat, and these pigs at a trough take your hard-earned tax dollars? Let me know what you guys think down below. Would you like to see Andrew Scheer on the channel? Let me know what you think down below to that one. And again, your comments will help me push him a little bit further and try to free up some of his time, but let me know what you think. I know, Andrew, I'm just giving you a hard time. Guys, leave your comments and your thumbs ups down below if you enjoyed the video. If you also enjoyed it and it's your first time here, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Make sure as you're checking that button for the subscribe, you also hit the bell for notifications. Join me live here on the channel each and every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, our live streaming show, where we talk about everything that's happened this week in politics, everything coming up in the week ahead, as well as some back and forth within our community. It's always great to chat with you guys, joined by my beautiful wife, Mrs. Fringe, every Friday here, starting on the channel at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and we look forward to seeing you all this Friday night on our upcoming live stream. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.